This is the Padua Podcast Network.
The one I saw was 2014, associated oxytocin with the ability for muscles to repair themselves, an ability which decreases with age. Running Fever, episode 153. Why is oxytocin called the love hormone? Welcome to the show, I'm Michael Davis. Do you love your life enough to make it last as long as possible? If so, or if you want to, and why wouldn't you want to? You're in the right place. This is Running a Fever, a podcast about fitness, diet, and medicine. My goal is I want to make it last as long as possible, but not only that, I want to have an active, healthy, and happy life right up to the very end. You know, it's getting warm here at Lake Fayetteville. I'm on the sunniest part of the course. And it's also the most popular part of the course. It goes by the Marina, Aquatic Center, disc golf course, leading up to that beautiful view of the lake from the earthen dam, for which I provided so many pictures for you. And I haven't taken any pictures today, but I will probably use some of the old ones because I have many beautiful photographs of this area. And it's springtime, and so everything's pretty much green. It's a big change from the last time I took a walk here. So this is fourth in a series about brain chemicals that I started. It's actually fifth, but it's the fourth detailed chemical analysis. Not really a chemical analysis. It's information about the chemical in question, in this case, oxytocin. But back in episode 139, I discussed 4 brain chemicals plus a bonus one that had an impact on how we behave, how we feel, and the sort of physical sensations that drive us to do the things we do, and how they help us survive as a species, not just as individuals. So I highly recommend that you go back and listen to that episode based on a TED Talk given by Simon Sinek. And I also have links to that book and speech. If you go to runningfever.com/139, see the show notes, you'll even be able to just click on that and listen to it. There is always a YouTube video for each episode that I do. And I'm going to go ahead and take a picture here today because it is beautiful and I'm rarely out at this specific time of day. The sun glittering, sparkling on the waters. Well, the old baseball field, they should be getting a little more lively. Baseball season's now in full swing. So go check out that previous episode, and if you haven't listened to all the episodes in the show, I recommend that you go back and listen to them all. It's a complete story of how I got to where I am today, more or less. Kind of windy here on the dam. Several people fishing. Like I said, it's a really popular part of the course for a number of reasons. Close to a couple of parking lots, beautiful scenery. Nice, straight, flat walk. You can take your pets along, but it's quite windy. It is kind of cooling me off though in my long sleeve, bright orange thermal shirt that I'm wearing. Just think, I've got just a constant wind right here. It's not, it's pleasant. Very pleasant today. Sun's out. I'm sure I'm getting a little more sun than I should be, but only on my face and hands. I still have my compression tights on. It's a little too cool for shorts today. And long sleeves. and my Abeo active walking shoes, which is, that review was probably one of the most popular videos of recent times. Go to YouTube, actually runningafever.com/YouTube, and you can see that episode. It's an unboxing and review of the Abeo active walking shoes that I'm wearing right now, and they're feeling really good. Serious wind right here. Right on the edge of the woods. So last week I took a vacation, and I don't often do these vacation things. When I do, a lot of times I take a staycation and just stay home. But this was really good. I decided that I wanted to go and take a week, go to somewhere relatively secluded and read and write for an entire week, or in this case, 4 days. And we're coming on the spillway, which is very active today because we've had quite a bit of rain. If you're like me, you really like beautiful, views, like landscapes, oceans, anything in nature, mountains. And in this case, I went to Mount Nebo State Park near Lake Dardanelle in Arkansas, and I was able to rent a cabin for 4 days. The weekends are booked way in advance. And this cabin had these, I'm doing a whole episode on this, so I'm not going to talk extensively about it, but it was a beautiful view. It rained, as I just mentioned, 2 days straight, but for my purposes, it didn't really matter. It was still beautiful. It was still quiet. And I was able to do the reading and writing that I came there to do. You might not think of me as a writer, but every episode that I put together here is written, even if it's not scripted. I am involved in writing that, and I've talked about some of the other writing that I do. And if you're interested in more of that, not only can you read the blog at runningafever.com, but you can get some of my books on Amazon, my short stories and papers that I've done. And I was able to work on some of my short stories and get a better start, several thousand words on what I think is going to be a pretty good novel. At least I hope so. And did some reading. It's pretty much all I did, except for to go out for a hike a couple of times, which I just needed to do, and it was beautiful, and it was, obviously you got to do that when you're there. So that's kind of brought me to today, back on the track. No real clouds in the sky today. Not much of a chance of rain. But rain is beautiful too. I've done episodes out here in the rain. Last week there were thunderstorms and lightning, and it was quite the scene in sound and experience. So check out episode 139 because there's a review of all of these chemicals in there, oxytocin being one of them. I'm doing a series. This is the fourth chemical that I'm talking about here, oxytocin. In detail, that is. And then I had episode 139 that talked about basically all 5 of these chemicals in less detail. runningafever.com/139, and you can get all the links there and listen to the episode on your computer. Oxytocin, why is it called the love hormone? Well, it's associated with love, trust, and friendship. Just to kind of review what we talked about in episode 139, it's triggered by things like physical contact, hugging, kissing, shaking hands even. It's triggered by acts of human generosity, whether you receive the act of generosity or you give the act of generosity or you witness it. All of these can trigger the release of oxytocin. Inhibits addiction. So, we've talked about the sort of addictive qualities of endorphins and dopamine, but oxytocin actually inhibits addiction. So when you get this release, you're less likely to be addicted or to have addictive behavior, to be impacted by addiction. It also boosts your immune system. And it takes time to develop this. So it's not like you're, going out on your first date and it takes time to develop. You develop a relationship and it kind of works together with that. It takes time. So this is a neurotransmitter. It's like all the other chemicals that we've talked about. It works within the nervous system, carry these signals to various parts of the body. It's associated with social bonding, sexual reproduction, childbirth, and the period after childbirth. Now, Simon Sinek called this the love chemical. It's also been called the cuddle hormone. But even playing with your dog can increase oxytocin levels. So that's very interesting. That's probably why we say, for your psychological well-being, having pets is a good thing. So oxytocin is particularly important for women. It was first recognized for its role in the birthing process and in nursing. Oxytocin causes contractions of the uterus and the release of milk for breastfeeding. Studies found that virgin female rats shunned baby rats, but bonded with them after giving birth. In men, the hormone helps keep us loyal to our mates. So they did a test where oxytocin is available as a supplement, like a lot of these. I don't think you can get endorphins directly, but this one is distributed as a nasal spray. I guess that's the best way to get it into your system. So they gave this to men Hi. People seem friendlier on this side of the course. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's oxytocin. Very interesting experiment. They shot these men up with oxytocin in their noses. The ones who are married or in a committed relationship, when they were in a situation with a different female, they stood farther away from the female that they were not involved with. So there is a correlation between oxytocin in men and fidelity. One of the most interesting tidbits of information that I found on oxytocin is this, and I've got to dig into more of this, but there's a 2014 study. There's got to be more. Well, there might not be, but it seems this is interesting enough that there should be additional studies available. But the one I saw was 2014, associated oxytocin with the ability for muscles to repair themselves, an ability which decreases with age. So we talked about the importance of strength and aging. I did a whole episode on that. I guess they've decided that hormone replacement therapy doesn't really work for this. It doesn't help the sort of decreased availability, dissipation of muscle tissue as you get older. So I think this is, when in terms of longevity and what this show is about, that just staying active, it's very important. So I really want to dig in more to that, but that's very interesting. I just got a little piece of that this time. So it's available, as I said, as a nasal spray. But, be careful. I'm not sure there's a good reason to take this as a supplement. And if you're a woman, you certainly don't want to go into labor at the wrong time. I think our bodies can pretty much take care of this on our own. As always, I'm not presenting this as a list of drugs that you should go out and get, fill your cabinet with, and just stock up on them, do all these little tricks that you can do to increase their levels, but to increase our knowledge of our bodies so we know how things work, and that hopefully can help us to better stay active, healthy and happy as long as possible, right up to the very end. That's what running a fever is all about. And if you know that, then you've already got the fever. So keep a hold on to that. If you don't have it, well, keep listening and catch the fever. And I'll talk to you next time on Running a Fever.